Great to see everybody. Welcome to the third RETRN Demo Day, where we're making waves in Web3. RETRN Demo Day is bringing the world of Web3 together, where game-changing Web3 startups meet and get working capital from the most ambitious VCs in the space. This event today is presented by RN01. RN01 is an experienced design agency for tech and Web3 brands of the future. You can learn more about RN01 at rn01.com. And our event today, our demo day, is sponsored by HackerNoon. HackerNoon exists to be the best place for people to read, learn, and publish about technology. You can check them out at hackernoon.com. I'm your host today, Michael Gaizudis, and I'm the founder of RN01. We're so excited to be here today. Just like before, we have an excellent group of people here from all sides of the world of Web3, startups, the venture capital side, as well as those on the influencer side who are on our panel. So I'm going to make a quick intro, and then we'll open it up to our actual event. As I mentioned, I'm Michael. I'm the founder here at RN01. With me on the startup side, we have Charlie. Charlie's from the Extra app. We have Mark, who is the founder at Midpoint Marketplace. And we have Roman, who's the founder at Dark City. On the venture side, we have Anthony joining us from Synergy Labs. We have Nelly from InMind Capital, and we have our Web3 expert and panelist today. His name is Greg. Excited to have everybody here and ready to jump in if everyone else is as well.
Perfect.
Excellent, guys. So keep in mind, all of this is live streamed right now via Discord in our community. We'll make sure the link is in the chat. We'd love to get everybody's feedback after this event in the Discord that we have. And please make sure, if you guys can, on the Web3 startup side, also on the venture side, to share contact info, go back and forth, exchange social handles so everybody can connect, regardless of what happens from this event, just to build up that community and really get the conversation going a little bit more. As mentioned, our whole goal with this event and the ecosystem we're building is to really make waves in Web3 together. So we want to come together. We want to be a force where we can bring the best ideas, the most creativity and innovation, and capital access to fuel that growth. So if it works for everyone, we're ready to jump in and get started. To begin and kick us off, would love to turn this over to Charlie at the Extra app. Charlie and I had a great chance to visit, to meet, to talk about what they're building. It's super exciting. If I'm not mistaken, Charlie, you're in Paris, is that right?
Yeah, it's actually pretty hot here.
Well, I'd love to turn it over to you to walk us through what you're building and the energy you're bringing to the world of Web3.
So, I'm glad to be here. I'm Charlie, and I'm here to present to you the Extra project. And the Extra project is one project I'm currently building with Wasim Hamri, which is my longtime partner. It's actually our second company together. And while we were building our first company, we happened to decide that we wanted to build a 3D map on the application that we were building then. And so we were looking to a whole range of different services, and we discovered that there wasn't any way to build very detailed 3D map, like real world detail and not just procedural way of detailing maps. And we wanted also a map that would be resilient, which would mean that would be able to quickly adapt when an object in the real world will change. Basically, we needed a digital twin. So we decided to build it ourselves, and that's what we call today the Circum protocol. A Circum is a blockchain protocol. That's kind of a map to earn, which means that mappers, who are contributors, like individuals like you and me, would share inputs made of 3D mapping data, and they will get reward in form of native tokens. On the other way, map-based application will need to buy this token in order to consume the 3D mapping data, and they will burn the token in the process. Our whole goal is to make the experience for the application side as easy as Google Maps. So we want a really just a new way to do a 3D map by abstracting away the complexity of the blockchain. And our revenue won't come from the protocol itself, since it's a non-extractive protocol, but it will be from a full range of client-side apps that we will build to allow mappers to do their inputs and to allow applications to consume this input and to consume the data, and basically to exploit the full power of the protocol. Our intention to build our community is to piggybacking others' mapping experiences like Minecraft or OpenStreetMap or The Sims. That's actually experience will inspire us a lot, and on the way that we want our mappers to be able to interact with our client-side apps to build the map on a way that would be satisfying and relaxing. Right now, we're in the process of building. I couldn't state it simply enough. So we've been building and testing a consensus system, and we've been building tokenomics. We're in the process of inventing a way to encode this particular kind of data, a way to build a standard for it. And that's why we're right now looking to raise a pre-seed round through equity token, through a specific service that would allow tokens to get the exact same regulation as a real equity, normal equity. So I thought that's a pretty short presentation because I'm actually very interested in talking with the community here and getting questions.
Well, thank you again, Charlie, for walking us through what you're building. We had a chance, you and I, to chat, and I absolutely love the level of innovation that you're bringing to this space. I want to open this up to start to the investment side. As mentioned, we have Anthony here, we have Nelly. I'd love to get your take on what Charlie has coming to market and see what questions you have, if any, for her.
Yeah, I guess I'll kick this off. I mean, this is a really fascinating idea that you guys have here. I'm sort of interested to know, like, what process us as an investor, whether we're accredited or not, can come in and actually buy the token. Are you going to be launching this on a DEX, or are you going to have like an internal page on your application to actually buy the token?
Well, that's actually one of my favorite topics so far. We're working with another company that's named Fairminds, and who's building this really awesome service to tokenize equity. So it's their service, but they build all tokens on the RETRN website. And so you will be able to buy token very easily from a button on our website. I know that they have a system for non-accredited investors in the US to make them invest in batch. I don't know much more about it, but I can give you the link to their website. That's truly an amazing product that they're building. And I'm very interested in the governance side of projects. So I really like it.
Very interesting. Thank you.
And Nelly, any questions from your side or thoughts?
Actually, a lot of questions. Thanks a lot, Charlie, first of all, for your presentation. Reading your deck before and during your pitch, and the deck is really, softly speaking, too laconic. Actually, I even don't understand what is deck meant for, because it does not contain any details about your project. There is no details about why you are building it, what problem you are solving, what you are building, instead of building 3D map and that's it. No details about traction, about fundraising, about token utility and tokenomics, etc. So the deck is empty, I would say. Yeah, it's beautiful but empty. So just if we can also share the feedback, it would be great if you seriously speak with investors about fundraising, if you add the necessary details that will help to understand why you are doing this, what will be economy around this, how do you plan actually to earn money to ensure the performance of your token, if the token is the main if the main business model is in your token economy, that is the feedback, and it means that I still have a lot of questions that are not unanswered. I'm not sure if we have enough time to go through all these questions. Maybe we can follow up privately, and you can answer all of them in a more complete way.
That's great feedback. Now, Charlie, I saw you put a link there in the chat, which to me, first glance, looks like it contains a lot more information, which I know we couldn't see at first, but is that right? Do we have that right? That has more.
Actually, Nelly, you're right. I personally don't like when presentations are backed with a lot of words, because it's distracting to what the people speaking is saying. So I do a deck for presentation very, very lightly, maybe too much. So I've just put the deck that I send by mail to investors on the chat, and I would be very happy to talk about it with you later.
Sure, but this deck is also not complete, because it does not, it does not have your tokenomics, token metrics. It does not have fundraising needs. How much are you raising? What rounds do you have? What price conditions, etc.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe you have the third version, which is even more.
No, I haven't. That's usually a question that I discuss in direct while speaking with the person.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a pre-seed deck, so a lot of the questions that you're mentioning aren't figure out at the moment.
And Charlie, maybe there are some things you could speak about, just loosely, high level, the tokenomics side, the funding side, the growth side, even at very high level, and then you guys could, of course, follow up after with more of that detail. That would be great.
Yeah, so what specific questions about tokenomics, maybe?
Well, before going into tokenomics, I would love to understand what problem you are solving, actually, for whom you are building this, who is your target audience, and what traction do you have so far? What did you reach so far?
Yeah.
Up to the moment.
So far, it's a pre-seed deck. So far, we're building the project. And we've spoken, obviously, we spoke with people building maps. We've been speaking with a French company that was bought by Snapchat and was the base of the Snapchat map. And that's a subject that's very very present in the mapping ecosystem, the 3D issue. And right now we're working on it, and the people that would need to consume this are from mainly the gaming side, like just think Pokemon Go, from the simulation side, like for example, my first company is working with a big car manufacturer, that's Renault, and they're actually interested in this project because it will allow them to work autonomous cars. Then there is the subject of urbanism and specific third world issues. That's the lack of addresses. There are places in the world where people don't have addresses, and so a 3D map, very high detailed copy of the world, may help people to navigate in this kind of city. So that's the need. It's more like a form need than a need where usual map will give you information about what's here, and we want to give you information about how it looks for a broad range of use case that need it. Yeah.
You mentioned autonomous cars companies are interested in this project. So are you in negotiation with some of them about partnership collab?
No, not yet. No, yeah, that's we've been working with an Australian company that have been doing that, but right now I'm not working with any project of this kind because we're focusing on building the tech first. And
So it's
speaking-
your guess. It's your guess that they may be interested, right?
We actually talked with them with a marketing executive on their side about this. So we're not in direct relationship with the more technical direction that would work with the tools, but they actually came to us about this project themselves.
Awesome. And maybe the last question, can you elaborate on your traction? So what are your achievements?
Yeah, well, our achievements right now are technical, and there are other projects working on the mapping or any geographical issue, and we've actually designed a consensus. We've successfully passed some tests. Because the biggest issue when you're doing this kind of way of collecting information is that at no point in time we can be sure that an input is valid. So we can't have usual verification of transaction. So we've actually built a consensus that's designed around proof of stake, proof of reputation, and we're looking to add proof of location in it to ensure that input made by mappers are truthful. So actually, at the moment, we're working on design, and that's all of the traction that we had. And yeah, I know that's quite light.
You did not yet start neither marketing efforts nor business development. I mean, partnerships with market players, or for example, there are also blockchain companies that tokenize geolocation data that could be potentially a good match for the project like yours. So you did not yet start any activities in biz dev part.
We are talking with a lot of people on the ecosystem, but I won't say that they are direct clients. For example, right now we're talking with a French organization that's collecting LiDAR data. LiDAR is another way to build a 3D map, but a way less resilient way. And so we're talking with them on the possibility to use artificial intelligence to translate the data that they're collecting in our standard in order to make it accessible to consumer-facing applications. That's not the case at the moment. So right now we're imaging ourselves in the ecosystem and the mapping ecosystem with OpenStreetMap, with other projects working on the field. But when we won't just speak with companies that have the need for the mapping right now. We're not trying to sign contract at the moment because it's a year-long building project on the protocol side and the client side apps.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Charlie.
Great technology in the works, right? So it's brewing. It's going to manifest in the near future. I love the whole concept, and I want to get Greg's opinion here, who's our Web3 expert. His take, any questions, feedback, is a neutral voice and position here in this conversation.
Yeah, I could definitely be neutral, and I've been on the investment side as well. So I think to echo Nelly, the deck is definitely incomplete. Especially from a raising perspective. At least have some sort of revenue potential, financial model, cap tables, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I really like the idea. I'm always in favor of rewarding for participation and serving a public need goal. Like I'm part of the Solana community in Tulum, who's actually they've deployed their own token already. They're trying to create a circular economy. They've created this plastic flow where they're rewarding for cleaning up Tulum, right, and the environment. So I think, what I would suggest too, because it's very interesting, right? And I think it's kind of a mix and match here where you can really bring in like IRL connectivity, and then also but then you can also form like a community in another city while you're just sitting at your desk. And I see there's a huge potential for like a revenue model on the IRL aspect, like driving people to foot traffic to businesses. And I'm actually, some friends of mine have an AR type component app where they're doing that. It would actually be a really good, I would love to introduce you to them. So yeah, I think looks like on paper a great idea right now. I think you need to really figure out who your target audience is in terms of your participator and your target audience in terms of your equity token buyer. I think, getting equity through the use of a token and then be able to participate is always an appealing thing. That kind of is the ethos of Web3. Obviously, it can be difficult as an American to do that, but in France, it's a lot easier. So yeah, I think I love the idea. You're on the right track. Stick with rewarding through participation to really build that community, because that's how you build like a deep community. And then just, I would start as soon as you can, like getting putting it to like, I'd say like literally spend 6 to 8 months getting people involved in building this, because that way you can really start showing metrics and figure out who you're going after.
Yeah. Our plan right now is to build an alpha version as fast as possible, because there are a lot of elements of the models that we can't figure out elsewhere otherwise.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, you're solving a need. I think you got to narrow it down a bit, right?
Okay.
Community, technology, capital, all coming together, right? It's great, great stuff. It's evolution. Yeah. That was awesome feedback, Greg. Thank you for taking that perspective and, bridging the gap between what Nelly said and what Charlie said. And Charlie, again, I think there's so much potential, as Greg said, it's limitless as you develop this technology, as you build out the community, as you think scale, amazing things are going to happen. So please leave your details here for our community and for the investment side for Greg, so he can make that introduction. And we're excited to see your growth, and please keep us posted on that as time goes by. We'd love to hear it, and hopefully some great relationships will come from this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Nelly. Very great feedbacks. And thank you, Anthony.
Absolutely. So as we transition here, as we keep thinking Web3, as we keep trying to make waves together, we have a couple folks from Midpoint here. We have Mark and Matt, and I was able to chat with them recently to learn more about what they're building at Midpoint. And I'm super excited for it, because I think as we talk scale, as we think about potential here in the market, in Web3 specifically, NFTs, and more. This is the type of concept that can evolve into something so large. So with that in mind, Mark and Matt, I'd love for you guys to take over and walk us through Midpoint and what the future of that looks like.
Sure, thank you. Mark, did you want to share? Or?
I'm just firing it up and getting the haunted Apple needs you to give permission. So 1 second.
It's the worst when Apple needs permission. It's.
Is that showing?
I don't see it yet. Does anybody else see Mark's presentation?
I don't see anything, no.
No, unfortunately not.
Let's see. Okay, well.
Rakesh, can we confirm that everything, it looks like it's processing now, actually. Okay. I'm seeing something loading. Does everyone else see Mark's screen loading?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Great.
But first of all, thanks Charlie for presenting first. Never easy, and we got some unfair tips before it went. So thank you again.
Yeah, great work. So this is Midpoint. We are an NFT licensing platform. Next. So NFTs are driving a new paradigm shift in licensing. We see that with IP ownership, especially with the introduction of Bored Ape Yacht Club from Yuga Labs. They've really pushed the idea of what you can do with NFTs forward in terms of IP ownership by NFT holders. Next. So what's the problem? Why aren't more NFTs being licensed? Why aren't they done on a much larger scale? We see examples of it, randomly throughout different shops, stores, but all on a smaller scale, and only specific owners are able to do it. So why is that, right? It's complicated. Each contract has to be negotiated individually. It's also difficult to connect owners and companies. Companies that want to license an NFT don't know where to go, how to contact them. A majority of it's basically dependent on the NFT owner, who has either the connections or knowledge in order to reach out and negotiate these licensing agreements. It's also expensive. Companies who want to do this, it's blue chip NFTs are pricey. You have to go through legal fees, and it's a lengthy and drawn out process. It's not simple. It's not straightforward. There's also obscure terms with understanding what an NFT is, what happens when you transfer it, certain details like that aren't as commonplace in other types of licensing. Next. So that's where the Midpoint licensing platform comes in. We're here to democratize NFT licensing by connecting NFT owners and companies, where NFT owners can share the NFTs they're interested in licensing, and companies can come in and make offers on those that they're interested in. Next. So
Okay, and so
yeah, go ahead. Oh no, go ahead, Mark.
So how we set that up is essentially by reaching out to companies and have them either browse NFTs that we have available, whether interest has been indicated for licensing or not. There are kind of separate tiers for that, as well as creating job boards for different things they're looking for. So if they want 5 from a specific collection, or 5 from different collections, pairings of different things, they can create job boards that are essentially casting calls for whatever NFTs that they're placing. Next slide.
And on the opposite end, you have NFT owners who can connect their wallet, sign to prove NFT ownership, and list whichever NFTs they want to license. The NFT never leaves the owner's wallet, so it's safe and secure. Once they list the NFTs, they sit back, relax, and receive email offers from companies that want to license. And if they want to be more active, they can apply to those job boards that Mark mentioned and submit their NFTs if they match the traits that they're looking for. Next. So what does that mean, right? It creates a much simpler and seamless experience. It makes it frictionless. Companies can just browse NFTs, set the terms that they want, and make an offer. And then NFT owners receive that offer, accept it, and a handshake deal is made, where a license is auto-generated from our platform with the agreed upon terms shared and signed. Next. So why would a company want a license when they can just go out and either buy an NFT themselves and own the IP, or just not even bother at all? This is mainly for companies who want to enter Web3 and are Web3 forward. By licensing an NFT, they're able to connect and leverage existing NFT communities. Not only are you proving your commitment to Web3, but you're engaging these communities that already exist, that are already passionate about Web3. And you're also leveraging the owner. Instead of just buying an NFT and just forgetting about it, you're actually interacting with the owner of an NFT, and who is engaged with the community and who will market that specific license for you. I mean, I don't know of any NFT owner that wouldn't be very proud and happy to say that their NFT got licensed by by a big company, product, or brand. It also enhances their company's public brand and recognition in Web3. Again, it shows their commitment to Web3, shows that they're really in it. It's also cheaper than purchasing an NFT. And it's also less complicated. These companies don't have to worry about adding a new asset class to their books. Instead, they don't have to worry about crypto if they're a Web2. They don't have to worry about managing a digital asset like an NFT. Where does it go? How do we manage this? Who's in control of it? Rather, it's basically a Web2 approach to all the advantages of Web3. Next. And so how big is this market? It's a large market and it's growing. I know we're in a bit of a bear market right now, but we still have about 3 million users holding NFTs, where the median price of a typical blue chip is about $13,500. So the community that these companies are engaging in have money and they are interested in the space. And it's appealing to them to actually show their consumer and their market that they are interested in this. Besides that, it's still growing. It's predicted by Jeffrey's group that the market will more than triple in the next 3 years. And NFT sales have jumped more than 200 times just in 2021. Next. So we've come out with an alpha basically to gauge interest and gauge what the need. We see that NFT owners are craving licensing opportunities. Within 2 weeks and no marketing other than word of mouth, we've validated owner interest and have over 250 NFTs that have signed up. We've collected their contact information. But besides that, and just collecting their contact information, we validated that they are the actual owners. They've connected their wallet and signed a message proving ownership. This is important because, especially now with all the scams going on and people worried about their high value assets, the fact that they still went through this process and trusted us was indicative that they are very willing and very much wanting these types of opportunities. And our inventory includes over 15 Bored Apes, over 25 mutants, punks, World of Women, Meebits. All these collections are handpicked based on their terms and conditions being amenable to licensing for the NFT owner. Next.
So our go-to-market strategy is, we're going to treat the companies and the licensees as the market makers. That's where the money's coming from. So they will be doing a lot of outreach towards things while keeping the NFTs in the owners' pockets. They never have to leave their communities. They have all the same utility of the token. It's just the likeness or the IP that they're working with. And the license can be generated by all kinds of custom terms. It's kind of a, WYSIWYG situation of, these are an infinite number of terms that are put together and, legally signed off on and binding. And that's a contract between the licensor and the licensee. Our initial market, as Matt mentioned, is, our top tier would be the people who have signed and expressed interest, but as a company that has deep ties in Web3, we can reach out to different owners that haven't come to this yet if a specific company really wants it. And we want to open it up just to, if you want to do a free deal, we don't really require a fee for that. We just want to make sure that people are starting to get into this way of licensing things correctly instead of having these handshake buddy deals. Because a lot of these deals are just people who know each other. Somebody's got a company, somebody's got an NFT. We want to spread that out to say, would you like more exposure for your IP? Here are all the people who are willing to work with you for a cost or for free. It's all up to those two parties to come about. We have a couple partnerships in the making. We're working with LA Blockchain Summit to license a lot of the inventory that we have, and then we have quite a few other things in the fire that we're not ready to talk about yet, just because they're not solid. But we are speaking with people and trying to drum up a good, stable release of licensing contracts. Looking forward, we really see NFTs as, you know, the future of everything digital. Like the term NFT should dissolve into anything. So there's, you know, metaverse land releases. We get into music, you know, stock photography, all things that everything that exists, plus all the things that Web3 is including. I mean, I even look at the extra. We could work with you, Charlie, to license Manhattan for a weekend for a conference or something like that. Like, there's really nothing that we see we can't do. We're starting with PFPs now just because they're hot, and it's the easiest way to go forward. But I don't see any aspect of, you know, culture moving forward that's not going to have some digital aspect, and hopefully a licensable digital aspect going forward. Next.
Yeah, so if you take a look, our main business model consists of taking a commission of each licensing deal. So that's where our business model is focused on. However, we also support featured listings that allow NFT owners to pay a premium to promote their NFT in a featured section. We onboard new projects, new NFT collections that come out that want to be supported. They can reach out. And yeah, basically a couple others, terms and condition templates, copyright services, and having companies pay to post job listings. And to wrap up, yep, that's our team, Mark and I here, and then we have two other co-founders, Yoni and Alon. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry we went over. This was a little different than the deck we were planning on presenting, but hopefully we got everything out.
Awesome job, guys. You know, you're what we consider to be wave makers of Web3. You're changing the game, which we love. And it's so exciting because the scalability of what you're doing here is just massive. There's tremendous potential. And I think, you know, as you talked about changing and defining what's to come, I think that's the key here. You know, everything is changing. NFTs have so much reach. You know, as we all know, we're talking about right now, everything from Bored Apes to CryptoPunks, but in the future here, it's real estate, it's wine. There's so much utility here, and I think it's all about how do we extend this out so it is the thing versus, you know, just known to be NFTs for art. So we talked about music before, so there's so much extendability here, and as we know, Algorand and LimeWire with music is becoming a big thing. So there's just so much potential, and thank you guys for sharing your story. I know we had a chance to talk about your background. And what's cool is you guys, from memory, have a development engineering background. Is that right? Am I correct? Okay, so I want to make sure. So that's even more exciting. Just like Charlie, you guys come to the table with a lot of that knowledge set, and it sounds like you're working to partnership. So with that in mind, great overview, awesome, really appreciate it. I want to bring in the venture side here, Anthony and Nelly first, to see what questions they have for you guys and what you're building here based on the deck and the presentation.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting, this concept, and the only reason why I say that is because I've been sitting on a pretty large portfolio of NFTs for the last couple of years, and I just really don't know what to do with them right now. I mean, I've traded them on the secondary market a couple times. I've sold a few to friends, but it really hasn't gone beyond that. And one of the Bored Apes that I hold was actually going to be used for a record label. And when we got down to negotiation, it just fell through because my lawyers couldn't agree with their lawyers, and everybody ended up pulling out of the deal. So me, with my portfolio, if I came to your platform, like, what percentage of a commission would you be taking from my portfolio? Is there like a sliding scale based on the cost and the value of the NFT, or what does that actually look like?
The commission would be based on the actual the amount paid during the licensing deal. So, okay. Which I guess to some degree would affect how much the value of your NFT is, but it would be based on the actual deal, not the value of your NFT.
We've spoken with some traditional licensing companies. We both went to the normal licensing expo in Las Vegas and spoke with people, and it sounds like it can be anywhere from like 10 to 20%, but I think it all really depends on the size of the deal and a lot of it, but keeping it fair for sure.
Got it. Okay. Now, in that handshake piece of your system, what actually happens there? Is there information being stored like on chain, or what happens during that?
So initially, we're just creating a DocuSign, just a licensing, a typical digital licensing agreement. We do plan to eventually move on chain when it makes sense and we find the right product market fit. But right now, we don't really see a strong use until we don't really see a good reason to at the moment until we find a good use for it. In terms of like finding exactly whether we want that, putting it on chain as like a token to follow around with the NFT, or how we can basically make it so it makes sense rather than just doing it to say that it's on chain.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to take this conversation offline as well. One thing, I mean, I think I could help you guys out in a couple different ways. Currently, I'm tokenizing 87 acres in Mexico for a future crypto project that I'm doing. And again, my team and I, we're getting through some legal aspects right now, only because we're U.S. based and the entity is U.S. based. So we're working through like SEC compliance right now, but yeah, I would love to chat offline if possible.
Great, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
Perfect.
Excellent. If you guys could leave your contact details here for Anthony and others, that would be great. Anything else you'd like to share? Nelly, any thoughts, feedback, questions for Mark and Matt from Midpoint?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael. And guys, Matt, Mark, thanks a lot for your presentation. I agree, the idea is interesting, and it seems that you are still in early stage of proof of concept, but it is great that you already had achieved this first traction from the supply side. When you build a two-sided marketplace, it's always a problem of chicken and egg, yeah, and you at least know that the egg is here, but yeah, sorry, my
the dog thinks so too.
Yes, what I'm missing here, to be honest, in addition to fundraising details and all this other stuff, the demand side. I mean, it's quite obvious, and Anthony just proved it, that all the NFT owners would be interested, more or less, to participate. And especially on this market when they literally lose money because the NFTs, they go down with the valuation, they need these kind of solutions. For me, the demand side is not clear at all. I didn't see the proof of it in your deck, in your presentation. I didn't see the proof of it on your first traction because you got these 250 NFT owners, but where are the companies who want to license them? And I would love to hear also an example of the use case, why the companies would love to license.
Yeah, those are phenomenal questions, Nelly. As always, thank you for that great info. And Mark and Matt, I'd love for you to jump in. I know we had the conversation just briefly about, let's say Jack in the Box wanted to license out an NFT. So feel free to take that over. But great.
Yeah.
They're already. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. I mean, there are plenty of examples out, and unfortunately, we didn't have the time to have our full deck, but there are examples of, apes on clothing everywhere. World of Women, all of these blue chips are being reached out to, and there's deals happening all the time with people. So anytime you see an ape on anything, whether it's coffee, marijuana products, clothing, whatever, these things all exist out in the wild already. So there is there's an interest there.
Right. Yeah.
And what essentially? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say some examples are Old Navy. I think just did a licensing deal with an ape. Aeropostale. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, and Diamond Supply Company are some major brands. There are more, and we have a whole slide of examples. But
actually, if we maintain a separate registry of large companies entering the Web3 space, I'll put it in the chat. But we're kind of monitoring, influential companies in what we'll call Web2 space that are starting to get involved in Web3, and it's just a free resource that we've kind of been tracking anyway, so we figured we'd just make it public.
That is clear. You researched this topic, and there are companies that are interested in licensing. And I agree, a lot of Web2 companies are now having interest in Web3 and research for ways how to join it with less expense and less risk for them. But just a short advice from my side, I think it will look more solid if in your presentation you can show at least that you also did your homework in the demand side. You build the pipeline of, for example, at least warm leads who are potentially interested in getting some licensed NFT. So at least show this, that you started working on the demand side as well, and not just hoping that they will come to you. Another question.
I guess before you jump into that, we are leading with LA Blockchain Summit as our first customer. So we're starting with that.
Yeah. But no, that was good feedback.
Okay, so they will be your customer. They will be using your platform to license some NFTs,
Correct.
Right? Amazing. That is great, guys. Just next time you pitch to some investor, please underline this at the beginning. Yeah. Another question: what will be your advantage? I mean, once the big players understand that there is indeed a demand from companies to license NFTs, to rent NFTs or whatever, nobody can stop OpenSea or whatever else, big players to do the same, which will cost them actually quite, not too much, but they will kill your business in a couple of weeks if they do this. So how do you protect yourself? What advantages do you have?
We have a couple.
Go
ahead.
Oh, shoot.
No, go ahead. That's okay.
Okay. There's a couple things. You see the industry is in kind of disarray right now. So everybody's a bit on their heels. OpenSea, unfortunately, laid off 20% of their workforce just today or yesterday. And I don't see this as something they really want to get spread thin into. So we really want to build a strong platform specifically for licensing, getting out of any of the other marketing things. So let OpenSea do proof of ownership. Let NFT rental companies do their own thing. We want to focus specifically on licensing and make that the best.
Yeah, and I think to follow up on that, one of the advantages that we have versus another licensing platform, for example, would be rather than NFT owners listing for a certain price. For example, if I wanted to license my Bored Ape, I have no idea what the market is. The market size is so small that I can't really establish a baseline for what the going rate for licensing my ape would be. And it would be very different from me licensing it to a local coffee shop versus Starbucks, for example. And so one of our unique angles is that we allow the companies to come in and make the offer, and they're private offers, so that there is no race to the bottom. For example, if it was another licensing marketplace, you could list, I'm not willing to license my ape for less than $20,000, which could be egregious. We don't know. So the market size is still pretty small. So that's one unique take that one unique approach that we're making. And yeah, I think another unique go-to-market strategy that we're trying to really nudge ourselves into is becoming the standard for licensing. So if an NFT has a lot of licenses associated with it, you would want to go to the platform that has all those licenses like centralized and aggregated versus whether you don't know what's being licensed. So like if enough NFTs licensed through our platform initially, it will not only just add value to the NFT, but people will want to visit that platform more often.
Yeah, those are great answers, guys. And I like to remain pretty neutral here, but I see so much partnership potential, OpenSea, Voice, thinking about these cross-complementary services and extensions where the demand, the market is there, the demand is there, and gosh, here's Midpoint to service things that we haven't even thought about. So much potential. Nelly brought up great questions. I want to bring Greg into this conversation too. Greg, the Web3 expert, love to hear your thoughts, opinions, feedback, questions.
So this is actually something I'm very, very interested in, and I've had like a very similar idea from the get-go, and obviously got board jobs rolling out there right now, but they're only doing apes. Every single one of those apes and zoomies is my friend's apes. So I'm I've got friends of mine working on doodles stuff. But as someone who has over 1,000 NFTs in their wallet, it's like I'm waiting for a good platform, right? Especially my punk, right? A couple, because I have the full IP on that. So I think a couple things that, and I'll just ask those questions you can answer. Are you guys using the ERC or looking at the 4907, the new rentable contract for one? That one, because that's very interesting. And I would say from a user perspective, I would say 99% of people who own NFTs don't actually know the fine print with the project they're from. So if like for usability, it'd be nice where you just like, hey, you're listing this Bored Ape NFT, you can do everything, but you can't use the logo, et cetera, right? And then in terms of a growth platform, I honestly, I would just go out into like Starbucks and all these companies, right? And try and secure deals with them for them to use your platform, right? Because if you guys have the buyers already there, then people will flood into it. And, I think at the get-go, just let as many projects as you can just come into your platform for free before you start charging, right? And really build it up. And yeah, everything. Look at it this way. Crypto is 2% of the global equities market. NFTs, 2% of the 2%, yet Nike bought Artifact. Adidas is with Bored Apes. Puma's with Gutter Cats. Like, it's happening in major, major ways. Like Alexander Arnault, who's the heir to LVMH, specifically bought a Tiffany Blue Punk. So yeah, this is part of holding all this IP. What are we going to do with it? So it's definitely it's open right now. The race is just starting. So if you do it in the right way, but at the end of the day, just go back to like it's not even NFTs, right? It's a business. You're basically, if you deliver value to your clients, and this is just a purely transactional financial value, right? There's no rewarding for participation or anything. It's like rewarding you for being early, right? By holding your Bored Ape, then if whoever's, it's going to come down to a black and white situation at that point, right? Are you delivering value to people financially on this or not, right?
Yeah, great feedback, Greg. Great points.
Yeah.
I think as you're building up your portfolio too, building up your collection, you're able to continue to use this, optimize it, scale it out in terms of licensing. So what's so cool about it is it's not limited to just one ape. It keeps going and going and going. It's a gift that keeps giving with Midpoint, which is so exciting. And as Greg said, I totally agree. Building this up early, sustainably scaling it, creating that marketplace meets demand, meets buyer, meets licensor. There's just so much potential here. And I think the cross partnerships are so big. We like to call it riding the brand wave, when you can get those synergies going between all these major players to smaller players. It's the ecosystem. So awesome points, guys. Thank you so much to Mark and Matt for presenting. Thank you to Nelly, to Anthony, to Greg for sharing all your thoughts and questions. Please feel free to exchange your contact info, and we'll keep it going from there. As we transition, I want to bring forward our last and final Web3 startup and founder today. Not forever, but just for today. And that's Roman. And Roman is from Dark City. I'm going to pass it over to you, Roman, if you're ready for it, just to make that introduction. Tell the crowd, the community, the investors, and Greg, of course, what you're building and how you're making waves in Web3 as well.
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to load up my pitch deck. I've got all the relevant detail in the chat. Give me 2 seconds.
Cool. And Roman, let us know if you can present okay, if you're able to share your screen. That would be super helpful. Excellent. Yes. Can everybody see this as well?
Yeah. Can
Thumbs up. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So let's get into it. Okay, so hello, I'm Roman J. Giorgio, also known as Omnis for CEO. I'm here today to look for partners, investors, and collaborators in a technology we've been building called Labyrinth Tech. We believe it to be the next standard of NFT generation. So I want to talk a little bit about my background before I go into it. So I started off as a designer. I've done creative direction, graphic design, 3D art, interior design, all of it. Even 2 years ago, I co-founded a record label that specializes in immersive events in Bristol, and we sell out most ones we do. But around at this time, I also got into the Web3 space, and I had all these ideas for like different concepts, different utilities, but the current NFTs are very limiting. You see it. All these NFT projects, they have to follow a very strict silhouette per collection. So non-NFT people, they find this lack of versatility in this unattractive and random. That's just a fact. You hear that all the time. Designers have to follow a very linear path where every variable has to fit one design. And this is especially annoying in animations. And when brands can come on to make NFTs, they have to showcase their products in a one-glove-fits-all format. So I'm proposing something we've been building called Labyrinth Tech. It is a new standard for generating NFTs. It allows NFT collections to be a lot more personalized, allow a lot more utility, and be of a much higher quality, fitting every collection's needs. So this is the future of NFTs. Multiple animations in one collection. So let's go over some of the features. We get one is a foreground and background interactions. We've also got one-of-one variables and animations, variable styling, which would be especially important in fashion kit collections, and built-in tools for easy making. Because I know when I was making my NFTs, I just know there were so many things that I could build into the process to make it faster and smoother. So let's look at some real world use. So think of a gaming project. Let's take Star Wars. They've got all these races, they've got all these planets, etc., etc. Do they really want to do a one style silhouette if they've got all these different ideas and these animations already made for a game? They could even like bake it into their utility, sell it as DLC, and have actual 3D NFTs, not just a load of layers randomly generated on top of each other. And I think this is especially important in fashion collections. Let's say Gucci come on. I know they've done an NFT collection, but let's say they want to do an NFT collection of their collection. Styling's so big in fashion, yet it has to be random. So I think you can see the potential here. And you sort of look at the profile picture NFT space where they sort of take a technology and run with it. There's probably so much more which we just haven't thought of yet. So our vision is to become the next standard of NFT generation while creating the best tool for it. Our purpose is we want to create high quality NFTs that move the space forward. And our goal is to become the Photoshop of making NFTs, building a massive network of builders, projects and brands using our product. So stage one is a demo with our Dark City NFTs to showcase the tech. Stage two is to sell it as a service for select few projects, partnering with accelerators and launchpads, taking royalties upfront and payment for each use of tech. Stage three is to sell it as an application that uploads to the blockchain for you, any blockchain. And we also still want to carry on as selling it as a service, as an all-in-one luxury NFT creation for big brands. I have a massive network of artists, so we could do everything. Stage 4 is to scale and become the next standard of NFT generation. Keep adding new features to it. So this is our team. We've got Raj, who's our lead developer, who's overlooking all the development. We've got Iñaki, who's our lead data science. He's developing some of our AI stuff. We've got Jamie Lee Pollard, who's our blockchain developer, working on some of the tech behind it. We've got Ryan Must-Die, who's our creative writer. And we've got Paul Sylvester, who's our web developer. We've also got environmental designers, 3D artists, advisors, as we're also accelerated by the Cozy DAO, who are really in the Solana network. And we're also being incubated by the Roundhouse, which is really good for Web2 partnerships. So this is all built by the brand called Dark City. I'm the founder of it. Labyrinth Tech is not the only thing we're building. We've also built an AI-powered experience that gives you a custom NFT dependent on your personality. We've also built AI tools that sort of give it to sort of look into you, and we're also doing infrastructure products and more. But the backbone behind the project is Labyrinth Tech. So I'm going to leave you on. There's an opportunity. More and more brands are using NFTs. You see Taco Bell, McDonald's, Dolce & Gabbana, Nike leading the way. If there's an option to use to make better NFTs, why wouldn't they? More and more people are buying NFTs. The market is massive. And I want to say, like, first punks, then Romax, branding and stating, what would be the next big technology? This would change the industry and put anyone who works with us at the forefront of it. And I want to say, like, we could do this with 5K or 100K. We're going to invest into our NFT product and raise the money, bootstrapping up. Be disruptive. Be a part of NFT history. Welcome to the next standard of NFTs.
Well, Roman, your energy is phenomenal. Your excitement for the space of Web3 is definitely there. And I think your ideas and creativity and innovation are equal to that. And what's so exciting about this is it is challenging everything that exists today in terms of 2D to 3D, in terms of elements and extendability. So kudos to you for bringing something so cool and impactful to market. I see so much in your future here as you build this out. I want to flip this over to the investment side, to Anthony, to Nelly, to get your feedback, your questions, your comments, anything that could keep this conversation going from here. Please.
Okay, since Anthony is muted, maybe I go first this time. Fully agree with you, Michael. Idea is fascinating. I like it. I like the idea of Photoshop for NFTs, as you nailed it. Or maybe what came to my mind, it's more about Canva.
That's a big one. Canva's a big one.
That is much more massively used right now, I guess. Yeah. Can you please? Okay, you don't need. I have your slides open. The slide 11 with the stages. You forgot to mention on which stage you are right now.
Yeah, so
first of all,
we're sort of demoing the tech. We're sort of doing some demos. It works. We've built the AI tools. So we've built I've built most of the variables for the NFTs. I'm going to keep adding them until we're sort of set on the sort of full launch. I think as for that, we do have a website, but we're sort of doing another website, which is kind of guided by this AI. We want everything to be super immersive. Like when people are buying into Labyrinth Tech, they're buying into the lore, the design of our world building as well. Because I think if they're invested into the brand, we're not only going to have really cool tech, but we're going to have a big community of people invested in our project, because they will become our marketers as well. Yeah.
Okay, so MVP is ready,
I think,
right?
It's not ready for a service, but we have run tests. I'm on it.
One test. So you mean that MVP is under development? It is not yet ready for demo testing, for example, when someone jumps in and tries to use your plug and play, or I don't know how it works, solution, to create the first NFT, but
So
you are doing it like
we
tailor-made
want to
service
be
right now?
the first Labyrinth Tech. So we're going to launch that. We're almost ready to launch. We're just speaking to influencers, investors. Like I've just finished the white paper, so we're sending that all out as soon as we know which platform we're going to launch with, because we're speaking to different Solana ones. Then we will launch our NFTs. Then after that, we're going to sell it as a service, because we want to be like the historic first Labyrinth NFTs.
Okay, so first you want to do an IDO and then launch some first demo access to your platform as a SaaS.
So the first thing we're going to do is launch the NFTs. That's stage one, and then that will give us enough capital to keep developing the app. And in the meantime, we're going to be selling it as a service.
Okay, so you want to sell your NFTs to get money that will fuel your further development of
so
the main
it's going to be
platform,
like a fundraising thing, but as well as fundraising, we're getting a big community behind us.
Okay, your NFTs will have any utility, or you will sell it?
We so basically
without
we've
utility?
There's sort of like a few levels to this, and it's all explained in the white paper. But we've got different things. So the sort of main selling point is their Labyrinth NFTs, but we've built like a sort of immersive RPG style experience where AI sort of like learns about you as a person, and it gives you a custom NFT based on your personality. So they're not only super customizable with Labyrinth Tech, but they're given to you on your personality. And this is also gonna like lead on to our like other things like our DAO, our AI RAM metaverse, etc. We want to create really cool experiences.
It sounds really amazing, but I just try to understand how it will work. So the end user will log in your platform, answer some questions, and then AI will generate some personalized NFT. Or
basically, we make all the NFTs. They're grouped into 33 families, and then we've got a AI tour guide who's going to be speaking to you. And along the way, it's me asking questions, whatever. But also, we're going to be like, you're going to be moving around the world. So it's like there's invisible choices as well. So it's like, do you pick up a rock? Do you not pick up a rock? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. The AI is going to be working out everything and then grouping you into these families. This is more of like a sort of experience, like a game, a fun thing. We think Labyrinth Tech is where the sort of scalability is at, because if this catch on this could be massive.
Okay, since you're bootstrapped right now, if you do not finish your round, your current funding round, you will be on bootstrap mode. When you will be able, with current resources, to release the first publicly available MVP
probably next couple of weeks. We're very we sort of done tests. We're just sort of waiting to sort of finalize everything. We're very ready. Our website's just being put together. We've built all the tools sort of individually. We're just at a stage now where we're sort of integrating it and getting our marketing ready. Even if we don't get any money, which I think is very unlikely, because I think it's a very, very good idea. So, but we're going to launch anyway, because I just know the NFT community could get behind something like this.
Okay, can you elaborate on your fundraising needs? Can you elaborate on your fundraising needs? How much are you raising? On what conditions? How many rounds? What round you're in right now? Are you? Do you have any investors on top table already?
I've literally just my white paper. So literally, as we speak now, I finished yesterday. So it's I'm going to investors now. We haven't raised anything, but I'm in the stage now where I'm actively showing investors. So we haven't got any investment. This has all been from my sort of like limited money. So it's like we don't have any money, and we built so much. I want to say like we've got the team, we've got the ideas. I think all we need really is the capital to get our foot in the door.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I have much more questions, but since the time is limited today, I would prefer to ask them privately.
My email there. Like, hopefully next week I can show you like a walkthrough of like actually how the technology works. Thank you,
Roman. Thank you for sharing.
Sure,
Greg, I want to
my
loop you into the mix. Web3 expert on our panel here to ask Roman any questions about what they're building, Labyrinth Tech, Dark City platform, feedback, anything else.
Yeah, I think it's again like midpoint. You know, it's kind of hard to say it's an underserved market because everything about the market's underserved. But there's a lot of people going after the same topic, right? I think user generation and ease of use is a huge thing with like how much development costs are, right? And basically, when you go to any development firm and they know it's Web3, they just triple the price, which is pretty much anything. If you say it's Web3, they'll just triple it. So yeah, I think in that respect, there's a huge. I would say there's not it's not a massive amount of people that want to create their own NFTs. That being said, if you're an artist, right? There's so many artists that are having trouble breaking in, don't know how, and then obviously cost is extremely high, especially when you're getting towards trade generation, mint costs, and all that. So I like that a lot. I guess my only question to you, like on the brands, because there's a couple different angles I kind of took from it. It's like, you want to so for a company to essentially make their own NFTs without having to do it. That being said, a company like Taco Bell or McDonald's is probably going to like a company like Vayner or something. So I guess what would you say would differentiate you from like a Vayner NFT? And I would almost suggest that like those big Taco Bell, Nikes, all that's not your target market, right? I think it's more of like localized, right? Like even like local stores in cities and stuff, right?
Yeah, so I'd say I slightly disagree, just because I feel like if we get this out there, Labyrinth Tech makes the NFT connections, like you can actually have individual variables being one of one. Like these NFT collections are going to be of a much higher quality and a lot more customizable than any other NFT collection on the market. Like if these big brands are coming in and they sort of see this sort of randomly generated one, which I personally think is very outdated for how big the market is. Why wouldn't they go with a service that allows them a lot more flexibility? We can tailor it to their brand. We can add different utility. I just think like if they had the option, why wouldn't they choose it?
I'm sorry.
Great points. Great thoughts and ideas, Roman. And I think the potential is truly limitless with where this could go. As Greg said, there's so much happening in the world of NFTs. We see it with art, we see it with music and entertainment. We're seeing it now in real estate with wine. There's utility there. As Anthony was talking about specifically around, land in Mexico. So there's so much happening in this space. It definitely is a growing ecosystem, and that's what's so exciting. And I think the nuances of what you bring to the table in terms of the core offering, the differentiators, are really unique. And it's a question of getting that to really evolve and elevate more as time goes by. I think with the right partners, collaborators, capital access, you're going to go on to do some amazing things. So I love that you were here today. You told your story. You've been able to brew this concept more. And equally, that we brought in Nelly and Greg into the mix to bring great questions to the table to ignite that potential for growth. So thank you all for being a part of this. In the interest of time, I know we have to get running today because we're a little bit over, but I appreciate all the Web3 startups that were here today, from Charlie at the Extra app, Mark and Matt over at Midpoint, of course, you, Roman, who just presented. We're so excited we could have Anthony here today on the investment side, Nelly as well, and Greg, of course, on the Web3 expert panel end. We're going to be here again in the next couple of weeks, but until then, please feel free to drop all your contact details here in the live chat. Share them through our Discord, Return Discord community, and very soon we'll be launching our own podcast to kind of complement this entire ecosystem of what we're building here. Really excited for everything everyone is doing. Thank you for being here. And again, let's work together to make waves in Web3. It's all about the community. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.